feel needed to go upstairs. Essentially, the upstairs itself is condemned and has been condemned since the fallout of the mines. 1977, no one has been up there.
Oh, wow.
Essentially, you will fall through the floor.
Oh, okay.
But now, there's several theories about this. She was either, one, a myth, and it was just for people who had gambling debts to kind of kill off the debts and hide from their family for a bit, or that this was just a speculation and they just wanted to make it a, ooh, there's this ghost here. But my favorite one is she is definitely one of the many people that lived here in this town who was most likely a soiled dove. Nicer way to say a prostitute or a working woman. Now, essentially, back in the day, there was such thing as locked-in body syndrome, but they couldn't figure out that yet. So essentially, your heart rate drops, your breathing shallows, and a lot of people have been reported back in the day to have been alive during autopsy because of sin.
Oh.
I do believe that is why she lives in the attic.
Oh, okay.
Now, second entrance to this building. But essentially, they hurried up. They just put anything behind this. They didn't put anything behind it. They just put brick up.
Bodies went in.
Now, we are at our next stop. This is the Bisbee Jail.
Oh.
It was built in 1904, shortly shut down in 1917. Can we guess why? Just by looking at it.
Too small?
Yes. So essentially they did have to make a bigger one on the edge of town due to the fact that this town was growing so much because of production going on. Now, there are original bars on this window. It is said that the original cells are still upstairs. Now, because this was right here,
Yeah, that's open.
people would walk down this alleyway and talk through the bars with the inmates. Another reason why they had to
They
move
would
it.
climb out?
They would try to break them out, yes. Now, the downstairs was for the drunks or the rowdy people in the streets. Upstairs was for the more gruesomer, more, you need like actual time done. Essentially, now, the only reason why the upstairs is so important is because there was 2 brawls that happened, and it only caused 2 deaths. One of a deputy and one of a inmate. But it only happened not because of them killing someone or shanking them. Essentially, they just got trampled in the midst and wrong time, wrong area. Those 2 people do not stay here, but there is, to be said, 2 ghosts that do reside in this area. Now, the first one is Hungry Jack. Hungry Jack is a man who was homeless, stealing off of food stagecoaches. Essentially, he got 3 warnings before he was found with a small chocolate cake. He didn't get very far into the chocolate cake before he got found and he was arrested. They put him in the bottom part of the jail and told him he will be released later that day. He said fine, but eventually throughout the night, he got hungry. First couple of hours, he asked for a plate, and he kept begging and begging until they said okay. So they gave him a big portion, and they fed him. Essentially, a couple hours go by, he goes, I'm hungry again. He goes, okay. Gives them another plate with a bigger portion. A few hours go by again, and he's begging for more food. Essentially, they give him the biggest portion that they possibly can of food and give it to him. A couple more hours go by, and they essentially get frustrated with him and tell him to go to bed. He does listen and he goes to bed. The next morning, he gets up, they release him, and they haven't seen him since. He is to be said to stay in this area, reside here. They believe he is one of the 7 deadly sins.
Oh.
What's that mean?
Gluttony.
A what?
Gluttony.
Oh.
Yes.
What's that mean?
Now, the
Oh.
other one,
Oh, car.
if you guys go to that side. Hello. His name is Angry Jack, or known as James. Essentially, one night he was drinking. He had murdered his wife and brutally butchered up his children.
Oh my
Essentially,
God.
they did survive, but he was found waiting in the streets about enough to be at the bottom. Eventually, they don't know if he died in said cell or if he died on his executioner date, but he did die. Now, essentially, when you try to look at the second entrance to this building, you can see it now. But
That door?
yes,
Yes.
that is the second entrance to this building. I'm not going in because I don't feel like angry. But the first time I ever went on a tour, hence why I started doing tours, is the tour guide had tried to shine his light, including his lantern, into the back of there to show them, and he couldn't. It was like, it was a wall. So essentially he walks back into there, and the darkness is engulfing him and the light. You can't see in front of him, you can't see behind him, you just see the light that is walking beside him. And then he walks back, and it's almost like the darkness bends with him as he comes back into the light.
Wow.
That's why I don't like going in there. But it is now a private residency. It was supposed to be a breakfast and inn, as most of these places are.
Oh, someone lives there?
Yes.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yes, many people do purchase these buildings and will make them into like public areas, or they'll just be private residencies.
And they knew that before they purchased it?
Yes. Essentially, they'll get like the whole script and everything about what happened.
Absolutely not.
I think so. Oh, it's a car.
Now this place is a little more ironic as to it being right next to a jail. This is called the Pythian Castle, or other known as the Miners' Union. Excuse me. It was built in 1904, and the Miners' Union didn't happen until closer to later on in the 1900s, when the first war started. Essentially, there was two groups that lived here. The miners upstairs and this other group called the Knights. The Knights was essentially trying to bond everyone and keep everyone calm and from doing irrational things during the war in the peak of what was going on. Essentially, the miners did take over the entire building, leaving the Knights to move somewhere else for their meetings. Now, after they kicked them out shortly after, a few months into the year, they decided that they were going to go on strike. Because when the war started picking up, they needed more copper. And what do you exactly need copper and minerals for? Anyone know? Yes. They needed it for shells, guns, anything essentially that needed copper, they needed it badly. So that meant 12-hour days, 6 days a week. Unfortunately, that left them less time to sleep, less time to see their family, and less time to do things that they wanted to do after work. This angered about 2,000 men that were working for them. Essentially, they all went on strike. And this went on for a better part of 2 months, before eventually the sheriff got involved and took these 2,000 men into a baseball field with guns with a vigilante group and threatened them, if you don't go back to work, bad, terrible things will happen to you. That scared about 800 men to go back, but that still left 1,200 men still willing to stand guard on how they should be treated. Essentially, because back in the day, there was no such thing as it being against the law to legally migrate people out of state or out of their area. So essentially, they got put into Mexico, Columbus, New Mexico. Unfortunately, the state was like, hey, we have unauthorized people in my state, I need you to take them back. Now, before they took them back, the sheriff decided he was going to board up every entrance of the town. Essentially, once the sheriff found out he needed to have them back, he took down all of the barricades for the entrances and told the people, you have about enough time to get all of your family, all of your belongings, and get out. You are no longer welcome in this town. Essentially, that angered them even more. And so the souls that died due to either the riots that were going on for the strike, as well as the injuries that were happening, they now reside in the mineral copper, the copper that they had mined for years. Now, is anyone here a part of any type of law enforcement? Okay, y'all are safe. Say that now. So the first story is there was a man who was walking down here. He was a sheriff. He was just doing his nightly rounds when his chest started to get really, really hot. It started to burn. So essentially, where his badge was, he pulled it and he threw it off. Now he's in pain. He's looking down at his hand and his vest. It is burned. His hand is blistering. And when he looks down at his badge, it looks like he had just left it in fire. It was bright red. Essentially, he just left, picked up his badge and quickly left, and didn't come back here at all. No sheriffs, no policemen will come over here because they've either been scratched, whispered into their ears to leave, or pushed, or felt a very dark presence in this said area. Now essentially, that is not one of the many stories about it, but there is people inside that do haunt, shadow figures, people of the miners that are still angry, and it is a breakfast and inn. So this is one of the many haunted places that you can actually publicly go to on a website and go rent a room.
Oh.
Now we're gonna move down to this area right here.
I thought that was something, but it's just a car. That looks like something, but it's a car. Doesn't that look like something? It's a car. That's actually like really good at meals, like ghost hunting. So, yeah. It's not done yet, so. This is actually like so much fun. Mom, can you see me good? Yeah. This is actually like so much fun. Not gonna lie. I'll come back when I'm done walking.
Alrighty. So, behind you and in front of you is essentially Bisbee's own brewing company. Here, down into this area that we'll be looking at. So, essentially, back in the day, Arizona became a dry state. Does anyone know what that means?
No alcohol.
Yes. But there was one Irish immigrant who was like, I drink in my country, I should drink here. I can drink here. So he decided he was going to make his own beer. Now, essentially, you need bacteria or yeast to grow beer. Well, what he had was groundwater. And back in the day, there was no such thing as plumbing. It was a bucket, and you throw it outside your shop. Or dead animals on the ground. Whatever would end up in the groundwater would end up in the drink. Now, essentially, he did manage to get the correct recipe for his beers. Now, he's able to hold it down, and he's getting excited about it. Ooh, great, let me open up a saloon. So he opens up the saloon, and it's the last saloon at the end right here. He opens it up, and on the first day, he's not selling it. Oh no, he's giving it out for free as a celebration. He has one brawl and one shootout. The shootout ended up being kind of conflict between a person of color and a person who is not in uniform. Essentially, they both were under the influence of alcohol and shot at each other a few times before both of them were like, we're obviously just going to keep missing each other, so we might as well go our separate ways. Essentially, he thought this was amazing. A brawl and a shootout on his first night with free beer, and everyone was having a great time. It's like, it's ridiculous. And nobody died. So he kept it going. And then everybody else started to catch on to it. His name was Albert Swisser. Yes. Essentially, this causes a huge trend among this town. And many people beside him are now making beer as well as putting their own saloons. But this causes, because this is one of the many parts of this town, causes attraction. So essentially this meant business for women and men. Now gambling was really high back then, so essentially women were not to gamble, not to drink, and they were to not be over near the street. If you were going to be beaten on the street, either half to death, or you would die from the injuries that you had. Essentially. Now, one woman in particular thought really big about this really hard and decided, you know what? Why should men have all the fun? I want to gamble.
Say hi. Say hi.
So essentially, she takes one of her clients' clothes and she dresses like a man. So she is now hiding as a man in a bar, getting a feeling and doing all the fun things, while she's still being an actively working woman. She's taking the most drunkest man in there and luring him out so he can't tell it's obviously not a man. Now back in the day, that's not too funny. But eventually, either one, she did get caught, or two, she died of natural causes. But she is known as the queen of the red light district. She essentially wanders upon the upper parts in the balcony areas or on the street. And you gotta kind of really pay attention because she looks almost homeless. But pay attention to the cloth color, and she'll be kind of like this. And she'll be walking on the street like art. Oh, cool. Oh, they're having karaoke night tonight. Yes. No, yes. So essentially over the years, it got big, and then more breweries and more saloons ended up coming out to this town. So that's not the first type of story you'll hear about the beers being the problem. Alrighty, is everyone ready to start heading out this way?
Yeah.
Do it.
Ready.
Yeah, we stopped by an Airbnb. No.
Imagine if Airbnb was hunting. That'd be creepy. And it's really bad because we have to sleep there. So. Oh my goodness, Mom, don't say that. Knock on wood. Wait, there's no wood near us. Man, that's gonna be true.
Oh, he's jamming.
This is so much fun.
But it did burn down, as you can see on the sides and in the back where it burned about 3 years ago. But here are the blueprints for what it's supposed to look like. I believe it is a saloon. The owner of this property is going to try and rebuild it and essentially restore it so everyone can see what it was supposed to be before it burned. And this building extends from here all the way to this.
I remember walking past here.
If you guys want to see what it looks like better.
Can you carry me? Or should I just look at the bottom one?
Watch your phone.
Don't check your phone.
I'm not showing it that far.
No.
And they're leaving it on, and the buildings are made of wood, so essentially they get knocked over in the middle of the night, and then your house is catching on fire, and then you don't have a fire department to take out the fire, so now you've just lost everything.
It's okay.
That's why everything now is brick. So hopefully that stops the fires.
Excuse me. This is fun. Are we going to the haunted hotel? Ooh. We should have stayed here. parking and someone parked there.
All right. We are at our next stop. The Copper Crane, built in 1902. Years before Arizona officially became a state in 1912. Essentially, there's ghosts riddled among this entire building, and they all have their own plaques on the doors. Many famous people lived here, as well as a few other people that did. And they have specific plaques on their doors, as well as papers for the rooms, so you know their story. Essentially, this was built so the miners didn't have to keep living in tents. So it was another way as like an apartment or a motel. Essentially, so it wasn't a permanent home, but it was a home for a minute. So, with that being said, there was one little boy who lives upstairs, and he resides in this hotel as well as other hotel on the other side of town. Now, his mother was a housekeeper for all of the hotels in this town. Essentially, she would give him the right to, you know, pick out a room that they would be staying in for the week, so that way he had a place to stay. Essentially, one unfortunate day while he was down at the creek in the San Pedro River, he sadly drowned. Unfortunately, he did die, and he now resides here. If you have a child, and you are in the room, and if you leave the room, he plays with the child. Essentially, you can hear two children playing, your child and then a different child. Also here, a bunch of laughter, pitter-patter of feet. He does not like adults. He does not like R-rated movies. Essentially, he will turn the channel off, or he will turn your TV off, and you will not get it back until you change said channel, or until you take the movie out. Now, he's kind of a jokester, so he'll move your stuff around, he'll make you think you're losing your mind. My personal experience with him is my first ever time coming to Bisbee, I had gotten lost upstairs, because essentially the hallways look identical. So on either side, there's stairwells. Well, I'm walking past this janitor, and I can't seem to figure out where the stairwell is. She goes, okay, you're gonna go down the hallway and take a right, and then you're gonna take a left where the stairwell is. And I said, okay. I walked past the room that has his plaque. It says Timmy. I'm like, okay, cool. Walk past his room, and I hear him, another adult male, and a female. And they're all laughing and essentially having a fun time. I didn't think too much of it. I was like, okay, cool, it's not a vacant room. Don't need to be nosy. I go downstairs, and I'm talking to the person in the lobby, and I was like, can you please thank the janitor that was upstairs for me, because I did get lost, and they were like, you're not the first person who's first time here, getting lost upstairs. I said, what do you mean, janitor? And I was like, the nice lady upstairs in the apron. We don't have a janitor up there right now. Okay, cool, awesome. So I'm delusional. I'm crazy. Then I was like, well, I'm not trying to be nosy or anything, but what's the hit on the boy room? He goes, oh, I mean, do you want to book it? And I was like, well, is it vacant? Yes, it's vacant if you want to book it for tonight. Cool. Another delusion. Essentially, I found out the entire story, and I had interacted with not only his mother, but I interacted with him. Which was odd because I'm an adult, and he doesn't show himself to adults. Now, the other ghost, her name is Anne. She was a soiled dove. Now, unfortunately, she broke one of the biggest rules as a soiled dove you're not supposed to do. She fell in love with one of her regular clients. Sorry, I need the handrail. You're okay. She goes to profess her love to him, and he rejects her so incredibly hard that he was like straight death. Essentially, she hung herself either in her room or in the stairwell. But now she resides in that room, and it says Anne on it. Now, if you're a female in the room, you are going to be slapped, punched, scratched. You are going to get whispers in your ear. You are going to feel someone lingering over you while you are sleeping. If you are a male, I suggest you tuck the bottom of your sheets real tight and don't let your feet get out. She has a high foot fetish. She tickles or massages men's feet. There has been reports of her frisking men, and she has done it several times. There is many reports on that, as well as many reports of women being pushed almost down the stairs where her room is, or tripping in the room on absolutely nothing, or rolling off of their bed, essentially leaving with marks of scratches on their backs or their face, or waking up having a dream about a woman standing over them, making them essentially want to leave. She is one of the more aggressive towards women because she still thinks she's there as work. So women are essentially still competition for her. Now, the other ghost that lives here is the man that plays the piano. Nobody knows why he's here. Nobody knows his name. He essentially just plays the notes ever so gently on the piano and it stops. You can hear it throughout the entire hotel. Now, the other ghost is to be believed a miner. He is in a trench coat and top hats, and he wanders the farther upside floors. He's in the hallways wandering looking for either his room, a person, obviously clearly disoriented. Not too sure on the origin on that, but he is dressed like a miner. So many miners did die, and some don't understand what happened, so some went back to where they lived and are still there. Anyone staying here tonight?
No.
You guys get lost up in there. Ready? We're going to start moving down this way. And the further up you go, the more you'll see where the last place of the concrete was put before it started sinking.
We should have booked that.
Yeah, right. Don't sleep all night. That's right. Should have booked that rain. In the house. In the house. At somebody's house.
Don't do that.
And this is our next stop right here. So this is the Copper Queen Hospital in 1813. But there was a few hospitals built before this one was permanent. Essentially, there was one put on Mule Mountain, and it was over there. This is a residency. This isn't a vacant area, so I promise you don't see people in the windows. They're not ghosts. Now on Mule,
It's an apartment?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Now on Mule Mountain, they had the first hospital, but because they were mining in there, it caused the entire building to collapse and give away. So essentially the only thing that they were able to save from there was some of the equipment as well as the marble pillars. They say that they have them in the archives. I'm not too sure how true that is. I've been looking for them. I can't find them. Now, this building was built because they essentially gave him what was called a Cracker Jack box, which was 4 wooden planks. This is a street. I'm gonna have you guys. Sorry about that. The reason why it's called a Cracker Jack box is because it was literally 4 pallets put together, and a little bit of gust of wind, and everything would have fallen on you and the patient. Essentially, Albert, another Albert, isn't that ironic? Very popular name back in the day. Essentially, he goes to the town and is like, hey, can I get a better environment for the people that are, like, I gotta work for? Because you need money, I need people that aren't going to die on me in this situation as the entire building collapsed on us. So essentially they were like, fine, you want to keep complaining about it, here you go, here's a building. He gets his building. Unfortunately, that's when immediately the Spanish flu happens. Does anyone know why it's called the Spanish flu? It didn't originate in Spain. It came from in the south, came all the way down from the south into California and into Arizona. Essentially, it did spread to Spain, and Spain was the only people to speak up about it and say, hey, we are closing our borders off. Please do not come. We have a sickness and it is spreading. Please, for your guys' safety, please do not come. Eventually, the US was like, hey, so it's Spain's fault? Spanish flu. Now, Spanish flu started early in October. Towards the end of October, it took almost 300 lives. That took a great percentage of this town's people, as well as working men. A lot of families, including elderly people, children, people that were healthy, ended up dying from this flu. Essentially, the reason why it did spread so fast is because the upstairs part that we're staring at, this was the autopsy area. So a person would die from either the sickness or other complications. He would take them, do the autopsies here, and downstairs is where the lobby was. So he would essentially wipe the blood off on his coat, go downstairs, and go start touching your face and all the stuff, and examine you, and then give you your medication. Essentially, that's how all germs spread, and it spread like wildfire. Unfortunately, this town took forever to recover from it, hence why in 1977 it did eventually die off. Now, the story behind this, you can, if you're inside, you can still hear the patients groaning in pain from dying of agony or being sick. You hear coughing, groaning, moaning. Essentially, if you take a photo of the windows, it is said that you will see orbs or apparitions. The other person that stays here is the doctor himself. Essentially, you'll see him turn into rooms or walk down the hallway in his trench coat. Now, I personally have watched him walk into a room. Now, the doors of this place, yes, it is now a church, the doors are supposed to be closed. As of recently, they have been opening up by themselves. Or they will just all be open at an odd angle, and then the next minute they will be completely shut. Anyone want to take photos? Any questions?
No, you take a photo.
You take a photo.
Okay, time to go. Come on, guys. Okay, my mom's taking a photo. I don't know why. That's a cool band. That's pretty. That's cool. Oh wow. Do not enter.
Where's all that noise coming from?
That's a great question. I've been trying to find that out.
That movie?
Oh, that's the movie.
So it's over here.
Oh,
This was built
loud.
1900s. Varies. They're kind of vague on it because it was like a bunch of other buildings. Essentially, this was the first YMCA. Now, because, like I said about Timmy, the kids would play in the San Pedro River. Essentially, like Timmy, he and a few other kids did drown due to the horseplay and how rough they were being with each other. Essentially, this caused a lot of alarm for parents, and they said, we can't trust our children by themselves around bodies of water, and they're boys, so they're going to be rough. Why don't we try something else and convert their energy into a sport? So essentially, they made the YMCA.
Oh, okay.
Now, after that, that did not stop the drowning. So essentially, during the heat, they decided that in the basement, they were going to hand carve out a pool out of rock. So they filled it up with water. Yes, that reduced the deaths, but it didn't reduce any of the horseplay. Essentially, a few victims here did die due to the horseplay. Now,
What's that?
it was a few things.
What's the horseplay?
Like,
YMCA, a roller
Oh.
rink, a couple breakfasts and inns, and then eventually a hotel. Now, the upstairs part was the roller rink in 1960.
That's awesome.
So essentially, it ran for a little bit. So sometimes when the windows are open, you can see some children zip by real fast, or you'll see the disco lights a little bit, stuff like that. Now, if you're staying here, there is two main things to worry about with the restroom. There is one blue boy And he's essentially not there to hurt you or harm you, but if you have a glass shower door or a see-through curtain, he tends to stand there and stare or put his hands on the glass. He's essentially just confused as to why you have running water out of the wall and why it's not in the ground and why he is there. Essentially, he was a drowned victim. He still doesn't understand why he's here and what's going on. The other one is the shower howler. It is a apparition of a creature with red eyes that are glowing and a gaping mouth. The closer it gets to you, the larger the mouth gets.
Oh my
And
god.
once it gets to your face, it snaps shut and pulls back. Now, essentially, no one is able to confirm nor deny if it is them shrieking or if it's the creature shrieking. But I can pretty much guess it's scary enough that a gaping mouth is coming towards your face and then shutting. That one, again, hasn't had any reports of touching, scratching, or any physical interaction with people other than just physically scary. Now on the side here, there is a little mine shaft that has a little plaque on it, if you guys want to go see. And it just kind of, it's like an amusement thing, and you can see into the mine shaft itself. If y'all want to go see, we can.
Yeah.
I'll come back on walking.
There are mannequins in there, they're not people, or ghosts.
That looks like people, not gonna lie.
This is going straight
Those are
down.
mannequins. Those kind of do look like people. Oh, I'll spider web. The movie makes it more interesting.
Now, I've had my own personal experience with this building. I've captured what looked to be a child putting his face up against the window and putting his mouth open. Essentially what a child does when they're messing with
It.
and then you can see it go away.
The Georgie.
Where is this at?
This is where that air duct was. Right there in front of the sign. Anyone by chance get the extended?
What's that mean?
The extended version.
Well, this is the completion of the tour. I hope you guys had a wonderful night. I hope you guys find some spooky things and enjoy the movies.
Bye guys. Going ghost hunting.